Formlabs Form 4. Your dad? Let's go. This is the Formlabs Form 4, a new resin printer, faster, bigger, and more precise. Let's go through some of the specifications before we set this machine up. They claim that it is 5 times faster than the Form 3 Plus. Most prints should finish in under 2 hours, and smaller parts can be done in just minutes. Vertical speed is up to 100 millimeters per hour, which is pretty fast for resin. Most other resin printers are closer to 20 to 30 millimeters per hour, and as we can tell, that is a noticeable jump. However, speed is not everything, and accuracy is very important. The accuracy on this machine is 50 microns on the XY resolution, with an improved light engine and pixel smoothing to help reduce those artifacts. That should mean cleaner edges, finer details, and fewer layer lines. Material handling is automatic. No manual pouring, no mess, just swap the cartridge and print. The resin tank is rated for 75,000 layers before it needs replacing, and that is a pretty long lifespan, but obviously it depends on what you're printing. Build volume on this machine is 20 by 12.5 by 21 centimeters. That is 30% bigger than the last generation, but it's still on the smaller side for a mid-sized printer. If you're used to anything like the Elegoo or the Anycubic machines, this machine will feel compact. It works with over 20 resins, including 6 new ones designed for faster printing. The same cartridge system as before, so no changes are there. The price for this machine starts from around $3,499, with resin starting at around $79. So it is quite a pricey machine. However, let's see if it stands up to that cost. I'm just going to do this as raw as I did your... Now the machine has a kettle plug. I'm pretty sure this is what these things are called. A kettle plug, which of course you then plug into the back properly, because if you don't plug it properly, that's not good. And then you switch on the switch. In the box of the printer came this thing, which is like a weird little disc thing. And if you look at that screen, it shows what you're supposed to do. So in theory, you're supposed to shove this thing in there like that, right? And then it tells you which way to turn it. So now I just got to turn that this way. Let's do this side as well. Turn it. And now the printer is level. It even says the words, the printer is level. It's not perfectly level, but good enough. That is a digital level bubble. That's a level bubble that is digital. So like genuinely, it is actually moving as and when I move this thing, it moves with it. I think that's the coolest thing in the world. I know it's a dumb thing, but I just think that's really cool. I like that. What a fantastic little thing. And I know I get really excited about all these technologies, but genuinely, these things are actually really cool. I guess I have to show you this because I feel like this is probably a sore point in some printers, that their packaging is no good. Even just like the way that they've packaged this, for example, is pretty well... Why did you have to make a noise? Is pretty well packaged, in my opinion, to be genuinely honest with you. And I wanted to show you something. These vats are not able to be replaced. Like, you cannot replace the FEP. I'm not quite sure how I feel about that. I'm going to be totally honest with you on this one, because when I'm done with this and the FEP no longer works, this is all going to go to landfill. So also, while we're lifting up this lid, I just wanted to say that it kind of, like, I don't know how to describe how it feels, but it feels expensive. You know, like the difference between a terrible phone and a good phone? This is the feeling. That I can't really describe it, to be honest, but it feels really nice. As well it bloody should for the price it was. I keep getting distracted, but let's just do this. See if I can do this singular-handedly. So the vat goes in. I can do it single-handedly, and it would obviously be better with 2 hands, but the vat goes in with these little latches on the side, and it made a gloop sound. Let me put my microphone here by the thing. Did you hear that? pops when you click it in. It literally makes a noise when you click it in. That's really stupid to be excited about, I know, but it's cool. Right, we're only 6 out of 11 done. 7 now. Insert the mixer. So this is what they're calling the mixer, which is essentially a windscreen wiper for a 3D printer. This is going to go inside of the vat, and it's going to go like, and it's going to clean. Not okay. It's not. Let me just. So I need to install that. Well, we have a very, very solid build plate, and the way that it connects is just with one of those latches. It comes off just like such. Fantastic stuff. It goes back on again and clicks in all one-handed while I hold the camera in this hand. There is like a metal thing on there with these little handles, as you can see. Let me show you what that does. So what you do is you squeeze these little side things, which will in turn pop your prints off of the plate. Just like such. Do you see? See how it does that? The build plate is on, good sir. Close the cover. The cartridge will sit loosely inside the cartridge slot. This ensures the load cell can accurately measure the cartridge resin. Open the vent cap to ensure reliable printing and resin dispensing. I would be lying if I said that Formlabs didn't send me a whole lot of stuff with this machine, because that's just what they did. So I'm going to pick one of the resins, and I think I'm going to use one of the standard precision model resins. Now I say standard, but I guess that's probably just my way of saying that I think it's probably the closest to our normal standard resins that we use in our normal 3D printers. And as you can see, I've already got my cleaning washing station already set up here. This is a really fancy device. I'm going to show you that a little bit later, but let's go get some resin in. Also in this kit, the washing kits and stuff, came this little silicone mat which I've put down for the printer. This is going to be his new home. He will sit right here while I do my testing over the next few weeks. On the subject of resin, by the way, this is obviously a proprietary resin machine. It means that you must buy their resin. They have a lot of choices, a lot, but it's expensive. I'm going to be totally honest with you. It is expensive. So it depends on, I guess, what you're doing or what industry you might be in, that this may be necessary. Now, I have been told and I have noticed that you can unlock the machine to use other resins. I would have liked to have done that in this video to show you everything, but I haven't been able to. It's very expensive, and of course I can't afford that myself. So I have to try to convince Formlabs to do it for me. Just click that button, please. So the bottles of resin have this like air release cap thing, and then obviously at the bottom they have the way that they get the resin out of the bottle, and that's the bottle. It's a liter, kg, whatever you want to call it. I need to stick it in this hole at the back here, and I don't actually know which is the correct way around. I've figured it out. The correct way is this way, and it just goes in there like that. Apparently it just sits loose-ishly, and then I need to... It blunked! Okay, and then I need to pop that, but you know, a professional would probably take off and then pop it. Also, a professional would have been able to look at that picture and guess the orientation of the bottle, but let's not worry about that. The next thing is to get ready for print. Okay, now I need to actually somehow get my giant aardvark unused. Add printer. I need to put in the numbers or something. I don't know what I'm doing! Okay, so apparently that was even easier than I thought, and it just literally connected itself. It knew exactly. I didn't even have to put a code, which kind of worries me. I don't know if it's working or not, but I saw there was an update, so I'm gonna update and see what happens. Formlabs is ready to print. It already asked for the updates. It literally was gonna ask for it anyway. Now I don't know if I wait for the computer or if I'm just gonna... Let's see what the computer does. I didn't even need to do a thing. It's doing it all because I just used my computer. Sometimes technology can be really amazing. Okay, so I do realize, in fact, that filming like this is terrible. But I just want to mention very briefly the application that you use for printing with this printer. And what's going to happen is it's going to give you the option of your printer. And once you've got that, it's already connected. And then it's going to give you all the options of the materials that you could be possibly using or want to use. And it already, because of the RFID tags and stuff, already knows what I have in there And the next thing it has is your layer thicknesses, starting from the fastest at 0.1 millimeters, going to the finest features at 0.025 millimeters. I'm going to be using the 0.25 because we want to see the best features of this printer. And now that I have connected to the printer, it is now asking me to check a bunch of things. I'm not sure why they've called it a giant aardvark, which is an anteater, but anyway. Build platform, confirm is clean, everything is clean, all ready, but it still says not ready. I don't know why it says not ready. I mean, it knows everything. Confirm platform is clean, confirm is the mixer inserted and located. Yes. You have to do each thing individually in order to make sure that the printer is ready. Now it's all ready. Okay, if ever there was a machine for printing for idiots, I'm going to say this is probably it. Okay, so with the model that I'm going to print, I've decided I'm going to change and I'm going to use their clear. This is a clear resin and I'm going to use that instead. Let's listen for the bloops. So this is it in the app. I'm going to print this now as it is. So according to my calculations, I'm just going to click this upload to queue button. Now I know this printer has a heater. So what I'm assuming is going to happen, it's going to heat up. It's going to probably put out the resin and then heat that up. And then maybe start printing. I don't actually know. We're going to find out together. Okay, so it's happening a lot faster than I thought it would. And the resin has been poured. It's coming out of the little thing. And now it's warming up. And while it warms up, it's swiping it across. Keeping it obviously clear and moving and mixing while it's warming up. Interestingly, it's filling it up a little bit at a time. I'm not sure if it's just trying to calculate how much is filling up and warming it at the same time, but it's doing everything all by itself. Genuinely, I'm not doing nothing yet.
Some plastic, more models to paint, more shelf space to take up. And if one falls off and breaks, it won't matter because I can just print another 3D printer goes.
So it is now the next day on account of I printed that at 0.025 millimeters, and the print is actually fantastic, making me not look like an idiot for supporting it myself. I can't lie, that is actually the best thing that I've ever seen in my entire life. Just while I have the machine open for now, I just want to quickly mention something about the screen. As you can see, it has these little dimples in it, which I can only assume is to help distribute the light more evenly across the build plate. And if not, well then, who knows why it's there. There's like a little sensor, I don't even know what that is. Now, if I'm being totally honest, I am not one to care anything for a cleaning device because, in my opinion, a container with RPA in it is more than good enough to do what we're doing. However, when it comes to this washing station, I think I've found the one that I like. Now, I realize that this is not completely done, but you can set as much time as you want on this. However, if I were to be done, let's just say, and click end wash, watch what it does. Now this thing will just sit here and dry out, meaning that when I'm done with my wash, I can literally take my parts, put it in the washing station, and walk away, because it will lift up and dry. And within a couple of minutes, literally, if I had to put this in here and come back a couple minutes, like half an hour later, my parts would be dry and ready for me to take out and cure. If that isn't freaking cool, then I don't know what is. I'm going to start it again just so you can watch it go down. It is one of the best things in the world. Okay, so I have started the next part of the print. You can kind of see it in the picture. Not really. Anyway, it is currently printing the next part of the print. Same thing, 0.025 millimeters. We're looking for some high detail here. Bearing in mind, I have not set up this printer and tested any of the settings. I've literally started printing. There is a thing that's dried already. It's come out and it's dried. It's ready to get cured. I have not done anything. I've literally plugged it in, and I'm printing my model. Straight up, there is no tests. I would guess at some point I'm probably going to test how the settings work with their own supports. We'll deal with that a little bit later, but for now I'm just going to get my model out, and when we got it out, we shall inspect what it comes out like and go from there. This is the next print already done, and I'm going to be totally honest, I'm having actually really good success with supporting things the way that I would support them, and literally just clicking print. So apparently the way I'm using rafts is not going to work very well with that release system. I mean, it does loosen it, which is cool, but I'm gonna thicken my rafts and see what happens. As it turns out, I am slightly a bit of an idiot, and that is because for this particular piece of the base, I completely forgot to put any internal support. However, what I can say is that this particular resin is extremely susceptible to suction. So now I'm going to rely on the app itself to actually make this base piece, because apparently I'm too stupid to do it myself. Most printers have this, but this printer does have a cleaning sheet thing, wherein by you just tell it to clean and it exposes an entire sheet on the screen. And usually what I do is take some of the supports from an old print, and that way you can easily pull it out without having to scrape the screen. And so after using the app, the Preform app, to just automatically support this thing exactly how they suggest it should be, I've had absolutely zero failures. Now I do realize that obviously I probably should have just done this in the first place, but also it's a learning curve that I had to make between using this particular resin and how this printer works. In theory, the issue was that I just completely underestimated how much suction would be involved with this particular resin. It is kind of a little bit thicker than usual, and so this was my own bad that I had failures, and it should never have failed. For now, let's get it off the build plate, put this model together so I can show you what the results of printing with this machine is like. Okay, so now I can just obviously start to cure everything, and cures at the same time as heating, which I can't tell you the scientific reason for that, but there clearly must be some form of a scientific reason. As soon as that's cured, I think we can then put the model together and have a look at what came out of the printer. Well, I guess you probably want my final thoughts on this machine as a 3D printer for me, and perhaps for anybody else who is a hobbyist or in that kind of area of hobbying. To be totally honest, I think the machine itself makes printing so easy. That is obviously a really good thing, especially if you're a business. This machine for me feels just so professional. It's almost scary to use, but exciting to watch at the exact same time. Annoyingly, the size of the printer is the only thing truly that personally lets me down, only because of the size of the models that I like to print in the usual times. And this model that I've printed is only 10% bigger, and it was, I think, just over maybe 1/10 scale, and usually I would print in a 1/6 scale, and this is just not even close. I would really struggle to print this model in that machine just due to the size. But the prints that come out of it are incredibly crisp and really good looking. By the way, this model is from Bulkamancer, and I'm going to obviously leave a link for them in the description, as well as a link for the printer. And I encourage you to do your own research on this. Go look it up for yourself. Go read up about it. Go and watch other videos. Just know that this printer exists, and this entire ecosystem is designed for professionals. And it honestly is really, really, really incredible to witness this. And I want to say a massive thank you to Formlabs for even letting me dabble, as they say, as you have. Also, at this point, I want to say a massive thank you to my Patreons, because of course, without them, the lights wouldn't blind my eyeballs while I make videos pretending to be someone professional. If you didn't like anything you saw in this video, now is the time that the sponsor should look away when I say I don't really care, and you can kindly f off.